Education, Career, and Beyond podcast. We've combined life experience with young adult drive and ambition. Are you just starting to college plan? Did you finish your education and wonder, now what? Join us in this lively discussion about the topics you need to know to create the next stage of your life's dreams, careers, finances, education, and more. Brought to you by Voice for Heroes 501c3. Welcome to another episode here of the Education, Career, and Beyond podcast as we're coming up to our second last episode of season 2. And what a power guest we have for that today. This is going to be a lot of fun, along with my usual co-hosts, Ed Sanderson and Capri Suarez, who is wrapping up her first semester here at Purdue University and ready for a well-deserved holiday break. Ed, he gets no breaks. And we are welcoming Matthew Davis. He is the founder of Davis Business Law. But here's the thing. He hates golf. He doesn't really like attorneys, and actually he's a heavy metal guitar player. But what's so powerful is that Inc. magazine, and I want to get this right, it is the art of preventing stupid. So this is such a fabulous topic, and I think that we already have a million questions for that. And as a parent of 6 kids, that's a line that comes out of my mouth all the time. So welcome to the show, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, Matthew, for being with us.
And we're here to talk about guitars, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I'm a recording artist, so we can talk about that all day long. And Ed as well plays music. So
yeah, no, thanks. I'm thrilled to be here, and let's talk some shop. So yeah, we can do that.
Well, if you would just start off and give us a little bit of your background, because it's so amazing. But what led you to us today to owning the size of the firm that you do?
Wow, yeah, I don't know that it's so amazing because I feel kind of stupid every day, you know. And that's healthy. I mean, there's a great book I always quote called, it was very popular in the 80s, called Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive. And, you know, he talks about this, you know, I can't believe how stupid I was 2 weeks ago, right? And that's, guys, you just have to get used to that feeling if you're running a business. And I had that conversation with my 83-year-old uncle the other day, who's a Harvard B School graduate, and he's just like, I can't believe how stupid I am still. I'm like, John, you're worth a lot of money. So no, I'm a lawyer. I went to law school here in Oklahoma. That's my home state, because my dad made it real clear to me that was my option on the family budget. And I was like, okay, Dad, I'm young but I'm not that stupid. If I can get my tuition paid for, I'll do that. So, thanks. I was very fortunate in that regard, and thought I was going to be a Washington lawyer. And one day moved back out here to Oklahoma with my then girlfriend, who was a TV producer in your guys' home state of California. And here we are, 26 years and 5 kids later.
Wow.
And like you said, you got a bunch of kids, and there is a point where you don't care if they're licking pudding off the floor.
Totally.
Because you're just like, sure, go ahead. We can make more. And yeah. So I was practiced law in a small city. It's a prosperous town, and one day I had a midlife crisis and started a law firm. And named it Davis Business Law eventually. And we have, I guess, 7 or 8 offices now, depending on how you count it. And about 15 lawyers. And we're growing. We grow at 30% a year. And I'm just real blessed to have a really good team. We have a long-time loyal team that has worked with me. Well, I said to Brenda, our paralegal, the other day, do you remember where you were 26 years ago today? She was like, yes, I was at the hospital when your first baby was born. So there you go. So we do business law, and we represent mostly small businesses. We have some big business clients, but I just tell everybody we're the family doctor of business law. So, and that usually gets through to them.
Nice. Okay, so first stupid question of the day. I know we're not supposed to be stupid today, but would you mind breaking down some of the different jobs that are kind of in your office? Like you've already mentioned attorney, lawyer, paralegal. Can you expand a little more on those? Just because I feel like I've never really learned the difference. So I'm assuming that some of our listeners haven't either. Yeah.
Yeah, well, attorney, you have to have yourself a bar card, which means you have to go past the bar, which is really quite fun. It's the only time I've ever broken out in hives. And yeah, it was awful. And so, you go to law school, you get your bar card. Paralegal is an interesting thing because some states have a paralegal license. Some states, it's just kind of whoever the hell wants to call themselves a paralegal can be called a paralegal. And so it is, in my estimation, because of that, kind of synonymous with high-powered legal assistant.
Okay.
And we do, one reason we grow is we take a lot better care of our clients than most law firms. We actually treat them very well and have client services director. And we have a COO, chief operating officer, who's a retired colonel from the Air Force. He was a JAG officer, so he was an Air Force attorney. And he kind of runs the attorneys, and I, so to speak, and I kind of get to play first among equals with them. So I may go to court tomorrow.
I
might. Jeff wants me to. And if we have a hearing down here, so I'm in Oklahoma City today.
Nice.
Matthew, we have, as you know, a young adult office as audience, as Capri was sharing, and without them experiencing the fullness of life that those of us older people have done yet, when they're looking at, I'm going to get through, I'm going to start my career. And if they start their career as a lawyer, they finish that whole process and then instant success tomorrow. I don't know anyone that I have worked with or any colleague who has described that story. Right. There's always the obstacles. Share with us what some of those obstacles have been for you over the years so that we can identify and also say, it's okay, it's going to happen. Here's what you do.
Well, there are plenty of them and they come about all the time. Look, I want to start here. Anytime you are in business, it is a constant learning curve. And if you're going to be the boss, it is about taking responsibility for the team. And just one of the pitfalls that I steer people away from all the time is going into partnerships. Now, that may be, having an LLC, limited liability company, that you bring somebody else into, okay, as a co-owner. So let's just call it co-ownership. I steer people away from that all the time because people, they'll go, oh, well, I need, my buddy Frank to go help me build this company together. What you really need to do is learn to take responsibility and learn to grow and learn to take on the challenges, because this person who you think is going to be, very complimentary to you is probably going to be a burden to you at some point. And now you're tied to them and with ownership. And we do an awful lot of what we call business divorces. And guess what? They can be really ugly. So, maybe I'm answering the question in the negative, but the positive is if you are going to go start a business, your job is ultimately to take responsibility to create order out of chaos. And it is crazy the tricks of the trade that you will learn along the way if you're doing your job. And, we're a sizable company now. We're pushing $10 million in revenue next year. And, we're still learning things. Like I said, I was just talking to our COO this morning, and we're just like, I can't believe how much stuff we screwed up this year. Not client work, but stuff in growth and in some HR decisions we made. And so it's a constant learning process, and you have to take it really seriously.
Thank you. Thank you for your honesty on that, because I fire myself every morning and then I rehire myself halfway through the day and finish it up. So I'm going to hand it over to Ed now.
Yeah.
Capri, did you have any other questions?
No, you're all good. Ed is practicing sharing the floor.
So Matthew, I'm really working hard at that. I was watching a video on your website, and I want to get this quote right. You said cover your vulnerabilities to capitalize on your opportunities. I like the way that sounds. As an entrepreneur, you always got to be thinking in terms of watching your backside, right? So I'm kind of curious from your perspective, do you have any basic thoughts on that, which is what things a business owner, an entrepreneur, a young person starting out can do to protect their vulnerabilities?
You want to fish, or you want me to teach you how to fish?
Both.
I don't like fishing, so that analogy is really not going to work with me.
Well, he doesn't like golf.
I understand it. Yeah, I think ultimately,
here's what you really want to know. And I'm not talking out of school with this. Jim Collins, who wrote Good to Great and Great by Choice is really my favorite book of his. He talks about the business leaders that do fantastic are the ones that practice productive paranoia. Okay. and the trick is, and I mean, these are the 10X, these are the great business leaders of the world. And one of my other favorite authors, sorry to be on an author kick today, Keith Cunningham out of Austin talks about, if you can avoid your vulnerabilities, you're so much ahead. And what I'm getting to with that, and this is what I really teach. This is my niche that I do better than anybody else in the world. If you want, all of your vulnerabilities are coming from one of three sources, and that they are there's synonyms for these words, of course. But, it's catastrophes, it's sucker punches, it's your own ignorance, and or it's your ineptitude, meaning where you're slacking off. And difference between ineptitude and ignorance is you know what you're supposed to be doing versus you don't, right? Yeah. But what that does is it helps you frame smart questions by knowing those things. My first book, The Art of Preventing Stupid, looks at your business. It teaches you how to ask 21 questions about your business that are very insightful to go, okay, this is what can go wrong. And it's based around, the 7 systems that make up your business. And, there are common ones, like, what would happen to this business if I died, right? Yeah. Okay. But they change over time. There was a point when we were small and we had 3 attorneys, one of them being me, and I was much more active as an attorney. And, Ashley was a huge vulnerability in our world because she's my right-hand lawyer. Naturally, she lives in Portland, right? But and everybody's like, what does she do? I said, I don't know. I just send her emails, say, handle this stuff. Don't say stuff. And so, that used to be a huge vulnerability. So the answer is it changes all the time. The point is to routinely, regularly, quarterly, monthly, whatever you think is right. It's your business, you know it better, to sit down and brainstorm and ask the questions, where are we vulnerable? What can go wrong? Because if you can either prepare for those issues or prevent them, those are the guys that dominate the field.
Mm-hmm.
I was, first of all, I love what you said about paranoia. I told somebody today, I'm paranoid, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No. Well, that was that great quote from Nixon, which is, maybe I'm paranoid, but they probably are out to get me or whatever they
Yeah.
and in fact they were.
I was thinking about something that you said earlier about HR and how that's a real thing in your business, even as mature it is as it is right now. And then you said, having an LLC with somebody else can be problematic. So I'm kind of curious, when you're picking, or more importantly, keeping talent, what's the process of doing that so you don't keep stubbing your toe? Because that's a very expensive proposition either way. You pick the wrong person, you got to drop them, you start over. What kind of things are you looking for when you were building your organization?
I am constantly comparing and contrasting good hires versus bad hires.
Mm.
And we just went through, a list of when we really just did an in-depth study over the last 2 years of the people that worked great with us and that we were able to serve. Because I come very much, people will ask me, by the way, they say, what business are you in? I say, I'm in the attorney lifestyle business. And people look at me like I'm out of my mind. And I'm like, no, it's Richard Branson. If you take care of your internal customers, that is, for me, attorneys and paralegals and whatnot, they'll take care of your clients, right? Mm-hmm. So we have done some very intensive work about who works well with us. Their psychographics, for lack of, that's kind of a $5 word, but who they are. Oh, by the way, I mean, this is just completely incidental. There's the list right there. This is attorney prospect checklist. So this is a hiring checklist. And, the first thing is do not pass go. If you can't, you don't pass go. And, it's billing experience, because we're an hourly bill firm. If you don't know how to do that, I'm not going to train you. Mm-hmm. Were you well trained and well mentored? Because, guess what? We stink at mentoring people. We do. I mean, we know who we are, and we're like, I'm not going to hire baby lawyers. And they don't serve our clients well. I've got a whole bunch of lists, some of them are more colloquial, or if that's the right word, like, I don't want any lone wolves. I want people that play as a team. And, the other thing, sorry to talk so much, but question number 2 is, what is their dream? Mm. Because our first core value is believe and protect their dream. And, if I have employees, that's really who I'm talking about. If I can protect their dream, if I can give them a better life and a better experience practicing law, they're going to take great care of our customers.
No, that's great. I want to talk to you a little bit about your book. It made me think of Forrest Gump. Stupid is what stupid does. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious, The Art of Preventing Stupid. Tell me what the origin of that title was. And when you say preventing stupid, is that an internal thing or a personal thing? You're trying to prevent yourself from being stupid or prevent other people from being stupid?
Well, C, all of the above.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was with a business coach once, and he was like, what just pisses you off? And I got on a soapbox.
How much time you got?
What makes me mad is seeing my clients get stuck in just stupid mistakes. And, because guess who gets the call when something bad happens?
Yeah.
That's why this is one of, the area of expertise, because most times you're going, gosh, I can't, this was completely preventable or avoidable, or you could have been prepared for this.
That's every call with my children that you just described. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, well, and by the way, my brother-in-law, kindly read my book, and he's funny. He tells me now he's a homeless veteran, And I'm like, no, moron, you're a 787 pilot. So, flying across the Pacific and living with your girlfriend. So, but no, he says, this is actually some good things the structure is really pretty good for life, because the insight, one of the two key insights in the book is thinking about your catastrophes, thinking about what you don't know, which, by the way, it's not easy to figure out what you don't know that you need to know. But, success in life is about building a series of skill sets and mastering them and becoming good at them. And, those are the things you need to know. And sometimes it's hard to go figure it out. But so, no, I guess to get back to your question, I said, I get really frustrated with seeing these stupid mistakes, and we all make them. The reason I stuck with the title is because it's a provocative title to entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs, they think they're 12 foot tall and bulletproof. That's just who they think they are. And I know, I work with them. I am one, and I'm trying to knock them upside the head saying, hey, let's quit making the stupid mistakes. And then guess what? You deal with that, you can capitalize on your opportunities. You're the strongest player on the field, and you're smoking everybody.
Do you have any thoughts related to that? I asked you a question about building a team. I'm interested in your thoughts on culture, because you laid out that list. You had these questions that were very specific, and they almost seemed personal, like, hey, this is where I want to be, where I'm at right now. This is what the company needs right now. And this is how you build your culture. Can you talk a little bit about these folks who come out of college and how important it is to be in a good culture or help contribute to a good culture?
Well, now, okay. I'm not sure exactly. I heard a couple questions in there.
I do that a lot. You're lucky you only got two.
So glad
Usually
he
you get
pointed
like
that out.
8. You get like 8. There's like commas all over the place, run-on questions.
Yeah, that's okay.
And it's known for that.
Just
Thank
to
you.
be disagreeable, I don't think you build culture until you discover culture. Because our culture is decidedly built around my warped personality. Because I'm the boss. And ultimately, I don't like to think of myself that way. I think I'm here to take care of everybody. But, you start there, and then you start to discover it, and then you go discover what your core values are. And that's a heck of a process. And we have been through a couple iterations of that. But core values should never be these sort of stupid, just one word, excellence. And I'm squinting my eyes, because I've been in that with larger clients, and they're like, let's redo our core values, like excellence and caring, and it's like, oh God, this is ours are believe and protect their dreams, and that's really internal and secondarily external. Second one is create solutions, right? Because in our world, the law business is full of just morons that love to admire problems and then tell their clients about problems. It's like, our clients aren't here for to hear about the dang problems. They want to hear solutions to their problems. And they don't, and ultimately they don't want problem bringers. I mean, you guys all have problem bringers in your lives. Everybody does, and we all hate them. And, ultimately, communication, constant contact, because in our business too, I mean, we're very talking to each other all the time, morning huddles. I've got to go to attorney happy half hour here in a minute. I hope Dixie turns up drunk. That's my favorite time. And then Dixie shows up with a bunch of wine in her, and she's hilarious. And last one is teamwork equals dream work. And that's virtual. We do those virtually. So culture is everything. There's that saying, culture kills whatever. Basically, that it's the most important thing, and it's super huge to retention too. I mean, our retention for people we want to keep on the team is spectacularly high.
Right. I've left companies based on culture, not because I didn't enjoy the work I was doing, but the culture was so toxic I had to go. And
Yeah,
that's such an important factor. You mentioned earlier about how you're not exactly known for your leadership in the mentoring department, which totally understand. But my question on the flip side, were you mentored as you were coming up the ranks or as you were really evolving as a professional?
yeah, I was, and I went into when I started practicing law, I was in one of the old big firms, one of the older big uh, country firms, so to speak, not big Oklahoma City or Tulsa. They billed themselves as the oldest firm in Oklahoma, and had some really great mentors. Just kind of legends in the law business that I was really fortunate to work with, and that firm was set up that way, and we're just not set up that way. We're a different outfit, and we're really set up as a refuge for lawyers who are sick of working for what we call TBLs, which means tall building lawyers, and that's kind of a term of derision. So, um, and so that's who we are. That's who we can really help out.
At this point in your career, would you consider yourself more of a lawyer or more of an entrepreneur? Because you've talked so much about both sides.
I am, well, yeah, that's an interesting question, and yeah, that's a great question. Obviously an entrepreneur, but I also, because I have a really great team that helps run the firm, I really run the firm as there's a great book about running a professional services firm called First Among Equals, and so I do a considerable bit of legal work still. I was in meetings today. We're doing a lithium deal right now, which is kind of fun. So Ashley and I were working on that. We just basically that little deal, first go round of it, made the front page of the Wall Street Journal business section. So we're not dummies at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, Noelle's new lawyer with us. She's got me in a case tomorrow. Jeff may drag me down to the courthouse. So, and a lot of my friends that own firms similar to mine, I'm in a couple of mastermind groups with them. They're kind of shocked at the amount of legal work I do, and sort of like, why are you doing so much legal work? I said, because it's about keeping the team alive. It's about keeping the team happy, and it's about building the camaraderie and all for one for all sort of thing.
Well, and that part of it's coming from the entrepreneur side of you.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I guess maybe that was a great question, Capri. Gold star for you.
Yes.
And yeah, and I don't, in a lot of ways, I don't see the distinction.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's thank you, mate. You made me think about something today. Very, very much.
That's my job.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I don't.
Love her.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was fun to think through that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on our podcast today. I certainly had a great time learning. I don't really know that much about legal things, and to be honest, it kind of scares me, but now I know how to not be stupid. So I feel like I learned a lot. I had some great questions, and yeah, thank you so much.
Capri, to be honest, it scares everybody.
Oh, good to know. No.
Well, and it's healthy to be scared. You should always have a healthy respect. So it's still
Always got to
scares
stay a
me.
little paranoid.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank
Ed?
you, Dennis.
Well, Matthew, that was really cool. And by the way, just for the record, I talked to a lot of attorneys. You're one of the coolest ones I've ever talked to. I'll tell you that right
Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm pretty easygoing about things, but don't think I won't mess you up. You cross me. One of my friends once said, "Davis, you're not prone to picking fights, but you'll damn well finish one."
I like that. That's the kind of attorney I want.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my accountant. She says, I don't pick a fight with the IRS, but I'm sure willing to go toe to toe if I'm right. So I love that.
Nice.
So here we go. This is another episode of the Education, Career, and Beyond podcast. We got a little bit of everything. We have Matthew Davis with us, who's an educated man and is looking to tell us about what happens when you get into the real world and you start your own business and things you need to look out for. I highly recommend checking out his book, The Art of Preventing Stupid. I feel like that title's just for me, so I'm going to check it out for sure. And you know what? Another great episode. As we roll into the holidays, we've got a few more, but we're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll allow you to get caught up on all the episodes you've missed. So if you like this one, give it a thumbs up. I'm sure there's a young entrepreneur out there who needs to hear what Matthew has to say. So share it with those folks. Then subscribe. And as we get ready for season 3, you'll have all new episodes coming up soon. So thanks for being with us. On behalf of my co-host, Amy and Capri, this is Ed Sanderson. We'll see you on the next